In June 1941, when Nazi Germany launched Operation Barbarossa to invade the Soviet Union, the German army believed that its armored forces could quickly crush the enemy, just as they had done in Western Europe. However, in the early days of the campaign, they were unexpectedly confronted with a completely new type of tank, the T-34. The appearance of the T-34 delivered a severe shock to both German tank crews and anti-tank gun teams. The mainstay German anti-tank weapon, the 37mm Pak-36 gun, which had proven highly effective against older tanks, was almost powerless when facing the T-34. Many direct hits failed to penetrate the thick, sloped armor of the Soviet tank, with shells often ricocheting harmlessly off its surface. Witnessing this, German soldiers' morale quickly wavered as they realized that their familiar weapons were no longer effective. In their eyes, the T-34 was not merely a new combat vehicle, but a terrifying steel monster, capable of advancing relentlessly through enemy fire, an ominous sign that the war on the Eastern Front would be far more brutal and difficult than anything Germany had previously experienced. The key lessons that led to the creation of the T-34 were in fact drawn by the Soviet Union from the Spanish Civil War, 1936, 1939. During this conflict, the USSR supported the Republican side by supplying tanks such as the T-26 and BT, which faced Italian and German light tanks. In the early stages, Soviet tanks clearly demonstrated their superiority. They possessed thicker armor, stronger firepower, and better mobility than Italian CV-35 tankettes or Germany's Panzer I, which were armed only with machine guns. This caused the first tank engagements to tilt decisively in favor of the Soviets and generated great confidence among Red Army commanders. However, that advantage did not last. When Germany began deploying modern anti-tank guns, particularly the 37mm PAK, the balance on the battlefield quickly shifted. Soviet tanks, though superior to enemy armor, proved extremely vulnerable to anti-tank fire. Just a few well-positioned guns were enough to halt an entire tank unit. From this, it became clear that the greatest threat to tanks was not necessarily enemy tanks, but rather anti-tank artillery and modern infantry weapons. Reports sent back to Moscow grew increasingly alarming. The Soviet Union's main tank models at the time revealed a series of shortcomings: thin armor, gasoline engines that were prone to catching fire, poor mechanical reliability, difficult maintenance, and insufficient firepower for modern warfare. These problems continued to surface in later conflicts, such as the Winter War against Finland and the battles at Khalkhin Gol. All of these bitter experiences led to a conclusion of vital importance. The Soviet Union could not merely improve existing designs. It needed an entirely new generation of tanks, featuring thick and sloped armor, powerful armament, safer engines, and superior mobility. From this requirement, the path toward the creation of the T-34 was opened, laying the foundation for one of the most influential tank designs in the history of modern warfare. Drawing on the urgent requirements identified after the pre-war conflicts, the Soviet Union began implementing a program to design a new medium tank capable of meeting the demands of modern warfare. At Kharkov Factory No. 183, engineers launched two parallel projects to determine the optimal direction. The first was the A-20, which followed the older design philosophy with a convertible wheel track system, allowing the vehicle to run on wheels on good roads and switch to tracks in combat. However, despite its high speed, the A-20 was limited in terms of protection and upgrade potential. At the same time, under the leadership of Chief Engineer Mikhail Koshkin, a more radical project was developed, the A-32. This design completely abandoned the complex wheeled system and instead focused on increasing armor thickness to 30mm and enlarging the hull. As a result, the A-32 could mount a 76.2mm gun, far superior to the earlier 45mm weapons. The adoption of sloped armor significantly enhanced protective effectiveness without causing excessive weight gain, marking a major breakthrough in Soviet tank design thinking. During state trials, the A-32 demonstrated superior performance compared to the A-20, particularly in survivability and firepower. These results came at a time when Europe was rapidly approaching war, further reinforcing Soviet leaders' awareness of the urgent need to quickly field a new tank model. By late 1939, the A-32 project was approved, with instructions for further improvements, including increasing armor thickness to 45 millimeters and replacing the gun with the simpler and more effective F-32. In early 1940, the completed prototype officially appeared under the name T-34. Although many technical problems still remained, the tank made a strong impression during long-distance road trials and field exercises. The bold decisions made during this period laid the foundation for the birth of a legend, marking the beginning of the T-34's journey across the brutal battlefields of World War II. In the next section, we will learn about the Panzer V, Germany's nemesis of the legendary T-34.